Good morning. My name is Jamie Wright, and today I'll be discussing Cohen's book, which is called Renewing the Stuff of Life, but mainly discussing his thoughts on the creation of a National Stem Cell Research Review Panel. Whenever people of the public hear the word stem cell research, they normally are turned off because they're afraid of the ethical and moral concerns that are involved in this process. So, in order to kind of combat this issue, Cohen provides the idea of creating this national stem cell research panel, which will be able to provide information to the public and also to kind of keep check on this research that is being done by different sciences across the world. The most common problem that people face when choosing to either support or dissuade the use of stem cell research is, like I said, the moral and ethical concerns that are connected to it. Steps have been taken recently to develop a type of national stem cell research panel that will provide a set of coherent ethical standards for the people and scientists that conduct this stem cell research experiment. By allowing scientific experts as well as citizen involvement, there would be a greater public accountability as well as a greater public insight into the practices that are actually behind stem cell research, rather than just basing it off of ignorant knowledge. One problem that arises with the structure of standards, though, is that it can be hard for the standards to be changed when and if scientists in the field make a new discovery. Under the current models that are available in the world today, they typically only they don't allow for new information to be given out. So under this new model, whenever information is found and discovered, it would allow for the scientists to provide this information and to implement it into their work. Two possible models have been used to help create this possible research review panel, which are known as 1. The United Kingdom's Human Fertilization and Embryology Authority, and 2. NIH's Recombinant DNA Advisory Committee. The United Kingdom's Human Fertilization and Embryology Authority have duties that involve identifying ethical problems in the stem cell research process, as well as determining appropriate solutions to these problems. In the United Kingdom, they have built a framework for review for all of the different stem cell research that is conducted, which provides the public with a more stable feel about the process. The second review panel is known as as I said, the NIH's Recombinant DNA Advisory Board, which provides mandatory review for any type of publicly funded gene transfer. This committee assures the public that genetic research is being carried out with strong attention and devotion to strong ethical standards and protocol, which leaves the public a little more at ease about this research that's being done. But while both of these review panels are good in theory, neither of them are directly related to stem cell research specifically, but rather they talk about a wider variety of research. So, 5 models have been developed specifically for this purpose, which are 1. A stem cell review panel recommended by the National Bioethics Advisory Commission in 1999. 2. A federal stem cell research review board authorized by the director of the NIH in 2000. 3. A stem cell review board established by the Generic Corporation in 1999. 4. An ethics advisory board for stem cell research established by Advanced Cell Technology. And 5. A national review board for human embryonic stem cell research. All of these 5 models perform and carry out a wide variety of functions, and by combining these tasks and roles from all of these models, the roles for the National Review Board would include some of the following. 1. Developing ethical guidelines for engaging in stem cell research after discussion and debate amongst its members. 2. Changing these guidelines as needed after new information or new research has been conducted and discovered. 3. Reviewing these guidelines for the use of stem cells developed locally. 4. Viewing proposals to create new embryonic stem cell lines depending on the merits of the situation, which is not currently allowed. 5. Keeping a public registry of the approved protocols and certified stem cell lines. 6. Provide for and review analysis of its own work as a board. And after the national panel is created, the next issue is who's going to be on the board? Who's going to serve as a member? Membership into the National Review Board should include both experts in the field of genetics, legality, ethics, all of those things that would kind of set the public's mind at ease. By having members of all of this realm included, the public will more readily be willing to accept the opinions that are given on the topics of stem cell research and would be a little more comfortable with American practices that it involves. After members of the National Review Panel have been decided, the next appropriate task would be to determine how the panel will deliberate on all of its actions and decisions that they decide to make. There are two previous models that are available to help shape the stem cell research model and its deliberation methods, which are the National Bioethics Advisory Commission and the President's Council on Bioethics. The first, which is the National Bioethics Advisory Commission, decided to deliberate in a public way that would involve seeking common ground and interest among differing views of citizens. This specific commission took into account more of what the public thought rather than just making decisions and then making them available for the public to see. So this one should be greater implemented into the National Review Panel. But both of them are good. This specific commission believed that human embryos should be given respect and should not be destroyed arbitrarily. The best mechanism for these national panels is to utilize is by providing reasonable ground for their decisions and conclusions in which they take into deep consideration the opinions of citizens. In contrast with the Bioethics Advisory Commission, the President's Council on Bioethics did not set out a specific set of standards, but rather gave out a deliberate report and writings from their chairperson, Leon Kass. Leon Kass wanted to address specific fundamental questions about what it meant to be human. Both of these councils led to the idea that it is necessary for a National Review Board to develop specific recommendations about new forms of research, and that they should do so with informed consent from citizens. The model for a stem cell research panel that forms would include 6 major functions. The first, formulating guidelines for stem cell research. 2, review and approve stem cell research proposals as they are formed. 3, formulating different policy. 4, providing education to the public about this research that is being conducted. 5, collecting data about stem cells. 6, arranging for its own assessment as an effective review board. Members of such an effective model would include both scientific, clinical, ethical, and policy experts, as well as members of the public with various backgrounds. The National Stem Cell Review Panel would be essential to the success of the science and research because it will address ethical issues and recommend guidelines that would address them specifically. It would also serve as a type of informational source to the public about the current status of stem cells and the research currently being performed. As I said earlier, the fear that most American citizens have with stem cells is that they don't know anything about it, and that they fear what the scientists are doing behind closed doors. So having this National Review Board that would kind of have a checks and balances system and allow the public to have greater insight into what is actually being done will keep the citizens' mind at ease and actually make them possibly more supportive of the great things that stem cells will be able to do. In order to maintain, or rather implement, ethical accountability towards the practice of stem cell research, this National Stem Cell Research Board is necessary to not just the communities, not just to the scientists, but also to the entire world in order to have the possibility of creating a greater effect in citizens' lives later on. Thank you.